could have given up, but you didn't. You could have stopped believing, but you didn't. You could have kept living their expectations, but you decided to make this life your own. And in turn, you're here. Hello, everyone. Today we meet in Bryan Clayton. He's entrepreneur, author, and a speaker. Hello, Bryan. Thank you for joining us today.
Anna, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. So let's start our conversation by diving into your journey of becoming the person you are today. What led you to discover your true passion in life? How did it start for you?
Yeah, so today I am co-founder of a company called GreenPal. GreenPal is a mobile app that works like DoorDash and Instacart or Uber, but for lawn mowing services. So if somebody needs to get somebody to cut the grass rather than calling all over the place, you just download GreenPal, you pop your address in, and then lawn mowing services nearby you compete over your lawn. And then you hire one right through the app and you push a button. It just happens every week as long as you need the service. And GreenPal is a 10-year overnight success. My two co-founders and I have been at this for a little over a decade. And now around 300,000 people use the app every week for lawn mowing.
Mhm.
And before I started this company, I actually had a landscaping business. I actually mowed yards for a living for 15 years and started that business in high school. Needed a way to make extra cash to buy a pair of soccer cleats, and that turned into a real company little by little. I ended up growing that company to about 150 employees, and eventually getting it to 8 figures a year in sales. And then it was acquired by a national company in the landscaping industry. And so, I guess my passion is being a part of something that's growing, prospering, that's bigger than myself. And I learned that when I sold my first company, I took about a year off and I became very discontent very quickly. I didn't have a mission. I didn't have a reason to like get out of bed in the morning and go try to pour my soul into a project. And so my passion is being a part of a project that's growing, that's helping people, that people are getting value from, and that is prospering. And if that doesn't exist in my life, I get very discontent. And I learned that the hard way when I sold my first company and tried to retire.
Yeah, I see that it led you on a discovering path of realizing what is your purpose here, really. And being part of something bigger than yourself is, for a lot of people, is really a journey to discover. And it takes time to connect with themselves because everything comes from the internal. Right? So first you
Totally.
have to know who you are, what you stand for, what are your values. And if you are aligned with those values, and then you can be of service to other people, don't you think?
Absolutely. And if you try to go against that, you may not realize it, but you aren't happy, you aren't satisfied, you aren't fulfilled. And I learned that the hard way. I learned that so long as I could help other people trying to get where they are trying to go, that my success and fulfillment would follow. And so when we built GreenPal, we built it to be a platform that small business owners could plug into in this industry and then get as many customers as they want and run their business a lot easier than they could with just pen and pad. And as we started building it, we started getting stories like, hey, because I got access to the GreenPal system, I was able to put a kid through college, or I was able to put a down payment on a house, or I was able to buy a brand new riding lawnmower rather than having to push mow all day. And so these stories are what got us through those first few years, which are really hard because we begin to understand what we are doing is a good thing in the world. It is a positive thing. It is needed,
Mhm.
and without that, if you're doing it just for money and doing it just for the profit, it becomes very unfulfilling and very unsatisfying really quickly, and you're gonna like stall out when things get hard. And so yes, I believe you have to find that, and you have to find the profitable business concern. You have to have both. If you try to neglect one or the other, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a niche, some kind of like, I would say, unfulfilled need that we have in the world where we can make that contribution as a service to others with our own talents, gifts, and abilities, what we can do, what we can build, what kind of service or product would be the best fit for the market or for the others to benefit from it as well, because it's not in the end of the day only for your own benefit, but you have to help others to succeed. This is how it becomes more profitable and more growing company as a result of it. And also with you really reconnecting with yourself, it helped you to find what is it that you can do by applying your own skills that you have naturally. Everything that is natural for us, it seems like it's easy to do. For other people, and may take years to really like master that skill, let's say, right? But whatever is natural for us, we don't realize that we can really like monetize it. We can use it for our own advantage and help others as well on that journey. But
Yeah,
also,
totally. I agree. I couldn't agree more. And also, those skills evolve and grow and
yeah.
prosper as you go through this journey. So if you were just working a job somewhere in a cubicle, you may not have the environment or the marketplace exerting this pressure on you to develop those skills and to develop those virtues. And running your own business causes you to develop those virtues. And
Mm,
it's not just externally for customers, it's also internally for employees and stakeholders.
yeah.
Once you start growing a little business, you start getting one, two, three, four, five employees. You realize that, okay, wow, this is about serving the people that use this product or service, but it's also about creating this place of prosperity for the people that work here. And you start to, at least for me, you start to realize, okay, now I got to learn how to be a decent leader. Nobody
Mm,
taught me how to be a leader. I wasn't taught this in school. So
yeah.
now I learned that leadership really is just servitude. I really am serving these people that work for the company. I'm trying to help them get where they're trying to go and where the company fits in that. And so it really is one of these things and one of these journeys that causes you to grow and evolve in a way that I don't know that anything else could do. If you worked a job somewhere, yeah, maybe you might have a mentor that might teach you these things, but if you're in the marketplace and you're trying
Mm.
to get a team together to build a product or service that makes people happy, it'll really cause you to evolve and grow. And that's how it's been for me for 22 years. Every year or two, I'm evolving into a whole new person because the market is requiring that.
Definitely. And you just mentioned the word leader and leadership. And I think we have to really like lean into that area of being a leader, and not only a leader in business, but a leader of our own life, a leader in the community, right? All those skills are very beneficial for our own growth as human beings in general. And with setting the right leadership example, like we've shown people that we are not only trying to kind of make a profit and just make money, but we're also serving them. And I think it's better to say that when you work in your company, you work for your employees, not they work for you. It's the other way around, because I think uh, a lot of companies, they lack the understanding of leadership is, and a lot of times you just kind of disconnect with from your own workers and employees, and they don't feel the same vision or purpose of them really being in that company. So you have to create a certain environment, culture of people that would see that vision and help you grow, because they know for themselves why they doing that.
Absolutely. And it's so hard to do. it is really easy to lose sight of that. And it's really easy to have a place of work where you don't really know why you're there and you're just kind of, going through the tasks and answering emails. And it's like, why does any of this matter? You have to intentionally bake in something that you're doing in the natural course of the business to remind everybody of that. And for us, we exist for one reason: to serve small lawn care operators, to help them grow their business, to help them double, triple their business, help them get paid on time, and help them just have a better life. And if they
Mhm.
succeed, GreenPal succeeds because our revenue is aligned with their revenue. And so, like, okay, you can preach this all day long to your team. Our team started with just me and two co-founders. Now it's 45
Mhm.
people, and I can tell them that this is why we're doing this, and this is
Yeah.
why this is important, and that's better than nothing. And but then I started realizing they're just, I don't know, they're just not buying in. So the next thing I did was, in the office, I would plaster up pictures of like the top performing lawn care service providers um, in every state. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, now we kind of see who we're building for, and we can see that they're real people, and see that
Mhm.
that we're trying to help. Okay, it didn't really move the needle, but it was kind of neat. And then after about a year, you don't even see those pictures. You're just like, okay, yeah, it's just office decor. And so then I realized I've got to figure out a way to get my team to understand. And so
Yeah.
I begrudgingly implemented this program that I track with a spreadsheet, where every single team member has to do 10 hours a year of in-person, uh, actual like usability study kind of ride along with
Mm.
a service provider on our network. So it doesn't matter if you're an engineer, you're the vice president, you're the CEO, you're a customer service agent. You have to go out in the field and ride along with a lawn care operator who is using the app to run their business. And that was transformative because now they understand, like, wow, life as one of these small business providers sucks. It's really hard, and like our product is making it a little easier, a little better.
Mm.
And I actually recently saw that the CEO of DoorDash does the same thing. He causes everybody on the team, they have thousands of employees, to log on to the network and make deliveries. And so I think if you can like close the gap between all of the stuff that exists between your team and what you're actually doing and put them in the trenches, even just for an hour or two a month, it can really help reinforce that why we're doing this and why any of it matters.
Yeah, I think this really like integration in the real life experiences of how your product is being used
Exactly.
and how it really elevates the pressure of, the users, of real-time users, and how your work is helping other people to succeed and how they um, applying that to ease their operation day to day, it helps you to see why you're really working at that company and what is the purpose. Because I think like connecting to the purpose and the vision of the company, it's the core of, really like feel this fulfillment, and it has to be aligned with personal values of that employee to know why they doing that. Because a lot of times people stuck in 9 to 5 and they feel miserable and they just looking for the way out and they don't know what to do and how to start something else on the side perhaps, or find another company to work for. So that type of culture, and that's a great way to really like connect it also like with your coworkers, not just seeing for yourself what is it that you're building or helping to build, but really like having that team fields where you connect with other peers as well, because you still have to feel this belonging to a community, you know,
Absolutely.
and that's something that's provided from the top, from the leadership. Everything comes from the top. So if we, as leaders, can create that type of environment, it's something that, you know, every company should look into.
Absolutely. And it's not something where you can like just plaster some values on the wall and like say, okay, here are our values: integrity, honesty, trustworthiness, quality. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, what does that really mean? I think you got to replace values with virtues, and virtues are things that you're actually doing. And so a virtue that we have is that we really care with every like soul matter of our like fiber of our soul that the success of these lawn care services, like they prosper on our platform. And as a virtue, we actually go into the field and watch them and observe them using our products and to figure out how we can make them better and figure
Mhm.
out get ideas on how we can improve that. And that's a virtue. And so just the simple act of doing that thing kind of course corrects a lot of things in terms of reinforcing why we're doing what we're doing and why it matters, but also getting the wrong people off the bus.
Mhm.
Because some people, when I started this 2 years ago, we're in our 10th year now, and I wish I had been doing this from year one. I started this 2 years ago, and some people said I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
I signed up to be a designer, and I'm not going into a a dirty, sweaty truck and riding around all day. So I'm not
Mhm.
doing it. So guess what? We were able to help them find another job somewhere else. And we were able to put somebody else in their spot who was willing to do that. And so, what does that do? That prunes out somebody who's not a good cultural fit and brings
Mhm.
somebody in that is. And so, this
Mhm.
kind of like simple exercise course corrected so many things. And as the CEO, as the founder, you get exactly the culture that you deserve. You get exactly the enthusiasm level, the vibe inside the workplace that you deserve because it all starts with you. You set that. That's one of the few things that you set as the founder, as the CEO, is the culture and the standards around that culture. And so yeah, it's something I wish I had started a long time ago, but better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, there are always new ideas that really like help you improve the way you operate. And also, you are also the person who is doing that. You not just tell people what to do. You
Yeah,
are setting an example and you are the first one to do it. So they see that if you know, somebody from the top, like CEO, founder, is doing that, so that means something, right? So this is important for us to show with our own example that I am willing to do it first and you can follow me. And, you know, this way it, you know, like removes that boundary between employees and the management team. So I think this is something is very crucial because, you know, a lot of times people just give orders and hope that they will execute them the way they want without really like shown by example.
yeah. You have to always ask yourself the question: Am I a boss or am I a leader? And I think a lot of times we're a boss and we're telling people what to do and we're telling them how we want it done and we're telling them when it's wrong and telling them to fix it and like that's the bare minimum to hold a business together, and you're never going to get out of this kind of rat race of constantly having to micromanage your people, and you're not going to get the best out of them. You really want to be a leader, and the best way I know to describe it is like the best way I've heard it described is a boss is a push and a leader is a pull. And
Mm.
so you really kind of want to always check yourself. Am I being a boss here or am I being a leader? Sometimes you got to be a boss. I mean, sometimes you just got to cut to the cut to the quickest way to deal with the situation and tell somebody what to do. But you need to set aside time to figure out, okay, why did it get so screwed up? Where am I going wrong? Where did I not lead these people in the right direction? And course correct there as well. So always ask yourself, am I a boss or am I a leader? Am I pushing or am I pulling? Because you really want to be pulling more than pushing.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you've been founder of the previous company and this one. So this is something that you like to do, is really creating companies, leading them. But how do you manage time between your professional and personal life and social life? How do you focus on what matters on day-to-day operations, and what helps you to be present with each task that you're doing? Is there certain practices that perhaps help you manage your time efficiently?
Yeah. So for me, I'm always on 7 days a week. It's probably not healthy, but I am exchanging messages, talking to people, dealing with things. Um, with this device right here, 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and that's just how I operate. If I'm not engaged and knowing what's going on, I feel anxiety and discontent. So it's kind of like what I want to do. If somebody hits me up on a Sunday afternoon and I'm going for a walk or something, I'll stop and answer that text.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe there should be balance, and maybe I would have a more peaceful, fulfilling life if I figured that out. But it's not really what I want to do. I'm always engaged, and I have been for 22 years. I believe that's kind of what it takes to make it building a business from scratch. Maybe after you get to, I don't know, $100 million in sales and you have a management team and you can kind of kick back and let your lieutenants run everything. But if you're under 10, 20, $30 million, you kind of need to be all fully engaged to bring it to life and to hold it together. That being said, I'm always having to check myself with, am I doing things that are urgent but not important?
Mm.
And I need to flip that, and I need to make time for the things that are important but not urgent. So the difference between answering 100 emails versus sitting down in a quiet space and really studying where I think AI is going to take my industry, and really trying to wrap my head around that and learn from other people much smarter than me, and just spend a day or two thinking about only that. That is something that's important, but it's not urgent today. It's going to be really urgent and probably in a year to 5 years, but not today. And so you really kind of have to balance that time. What I try to do is Sunday, Saturday, and Sunday are my important but not urgent tasks, and I really try to focus on those. And then Monday through Friday is just everything from answering emails to dealing with customer issues to managing developers to just making sure everything is happening like it should.
Yeah. No, it's very important to really identify what is urgent, what is important, and what could really distract me from doing something that I should be focusing on.
Totally.
So bringing myself to this present moment and knowing what is my priority right now, I think it's something we have to keep in mind and really be intentional about, because time, it's the only commodity that is very valuable.
Totally.
This is something that is, if it's gone, it's gone, right? You only have today to execute something that will propel you forward 1, 3, 5 years from today, right? What is it that you should be focusing on today, right? A lot of times we get in stuck into thinking about the past or thinking about the future, but your power is right now to do something, to take that action. So I think we should remind ourselves that setting up goals, expectations, and intention for what are we gonna do today matters, don't you think?
Oh, totally. It's so a couple thoughts there. It's like it's the difference between working in the business and working on the business. And so you're working in the business, you're just kind of like a hamster on a hamster wheel. But if you can really set aside time to work on the business and clear out all the noise and focus on, okay, what is the most one or two important things I got to, like, the systems or processes I have to build to get this business to the next level.
Right.
And if you don't set aside that time and intentionally do it, then you're just going to be you're just going to be in the business. You're going to be self-employed, basically. You're not going to really build much of a business. And like, I heard a quote the other day that I really liked. I think Tim Ferriss said it. He said that it's really easy to hide behind the goal of changing the world. And so what he meant by that was, you have this like big goal for your business or your life or whatever, and it's like this big goal, and like, let's just say change the world. I want to change the world with my business, or I want to be the biggest network of landscapers in the world that you can hire with the touch of a smartphone. Okay, that's our goal. It's really easy to hide behind that because it's not measurable and it's not actionable. It's not easy to hide behind the goal of, I'm going to call 100 customers this week and talk to them and ask them where we're screwing up. Not easy to hide behind that goal. You either did it or you didn't. So if you can remind yourself of, okay, am I hiding behind the goal of changing the world, and, like, I have that goal for 5 years and I make no actionable progress on it, or am I making like little small attainable goals that are like the habits and routines of my daily life in this business, that are slowly progressing me towards that big goal. I have to catch myself on that. We have big goals to get this business to $100 million a year in sales, and, like, okay, what does that really mean? Well, it really means that we have to grow our traffic. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means we got to create more content. Okay, we got to hire more writers. We got to, like, get a better pipeline of content that we're creating. And so making it as actionable, and like, what are the things we're doing today, before you know it, a year goes by and now you're closer to that goal.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. We have to break down the big goal into small, achievable goals and the increments of steps. Like, what is the step that I'm supposed to be taking today to bring myself closer to that small goal that I need to achieve first? And that is something that is easy to perceive, right? And it feels that, you know, I can achieve it in a short period of time, where, like, versus to the big goal where we think, okay, I don't even know how long it's gonna take for me
Right,
to get to that success that I'm looking for. And is it even possible, right?
right.
Our mind goes wild thinking about different scenarios that made up a lot of times, and we don't even know what could happen. But what can I do? Like, what is in my control,
Totally.
really, right? And what is in your control is, what are you focusing on right now? What is the step that you're gonna take today? That is in your control, and it's part of that small and then big goal of yours, right? And you don't know, once you start taking those steps, other opportunities might come up to you. You meet certain people and doors open for you. Ideas start flooding, right?
Totally. Yeah. One of my favorite books is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I think, like, that's a book about good habits in your personal life. So trying to get in
Mhm.
shape, trying to pay off student loan debt or whatever. And it's a really good book about what you just said, building small incremental wins and keeping that momentum going. It's like if you don't go to the gym today, you didn't just lose one workout. You probably lost seven, because now you lost the momentum, and you're not going to go tomorrow. You're not going to go to the next day. And so it's a really good book about personal health habits. I think he needs to write another, like, sequel of, like, Atomic Habits for small business, because all of these principles and fundamentals also translate into what it means to get a business going. Show me, like, your daily habits and your daily routine and in your business, and I'll show you somebody who's going to succeed or not. And so what are my habits for my business? What are the inputs? Okay, well, on a daily basis, I pitched 20 journalists to talk about what it is we're doing with GreenPal. I talked to 100 customers to ask them where we're screwing up, where we're not. I have a daily check-in with these 5 team members because they're important. Okay, now it's 1 o'clock. Now I'm going to the gym, working out for 60 minutes, coming back. Okay, in the afternoon, I am looking over customer support inquiries to figure out where we have bugs and things like that. Okay, now it's 3 o'clock. So what are the daily habits of the business
Mm.
and the daily routines? And that's how you kind of march your way to success. It's such a good book to remind ourselves, something we already kind of know, but like those little small wins is what keeps the momentum going.
Yes, and two things. First is habits. We have to develop certain habits, and habits take around like 30 days or so to develop, but you have to be consistent and, really committed to what you want to achieve. And set up, time every day to execute something on purpose, intentionally, and you develop that habit. You're repeating every day, showing yourself that first you dedicated, second, you're able to do it, and then you see the small wins, like you mentioned. You start really like feeling good about what you achieved within that time period. You're looking back and you see, oh, if I can do this, what else can I do? It's kind of like you motivate yourself internally, because not, you know, nobody can motivate you enough externally to do something unless it comes from within. So you have to show yourself evidence of what you can do. You have to celebrate those wins, and it keeps the momentum going, and it brings you to a different level of what else can be achieved. And integrating those habits into your lifestyle, first it could be maybe uncomfortable, it could feel like it's something new and something scary perhaps, and eventually it becomes your second nature. But again, you have to give yourself enough time to see the result. And a lot of people quit before even seeing the result for themselves, or they have this fear of failure and they don't even start. They think about worst case scenario. So everything comes back to intention and action, and executing that and developing the habit and being consistent with that.
Yes, totally. It's the consistency is the superpower. Like motivation is not a really good thing to rely on because you might be motivated one day and not the next, but it's like the consistency to rely on that is the superpower. The discipline is the superpower. And there's a guy named Noah Kagan who I follow on YouTube, and he talks about this what he calls the law of 100, which is
Hmm.
if you're starting a blog, starting a YouTube channel, a TikTok channel, you're starting a small business, whatever, like just you got to get the reps in. You got to get like you got to get the repetitions in to figure out if you're on the right track, if you're not, to develop the consistency. And so you got to do it 100 times. So you might say, well, I want to start a podcast. Well, don't do it unless you're going to do 100 episodes, and then figure out if you are on the right track or not. But like, don't decide that until after you get to the 100. So like, there's the law of 100. And a lot of times in the early days, if you're not doing one or two things, building a product or service and getting people to use that product or service. And so the law of 100 might be, I'm going to reach out to 100 prospects this week to figure out if I have a business here or not. And so if you can remind yourself of that little heuristic, it can help build that consistency, build those little small compounding wins versus just saying, okay, I want to build a $10 million business. And what does that really mean? And then before you know it, you've wasted a year of your life.
Definitely. So we have to start small, but be consistent and really build that discipline for ourselves and see what can be achieved within that year, and what actually we learn through doing those certain, steps and tasks. Sometimes you think you have certain expectations of what you're gonna get, and you get something else, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just the way we look at it, right? We have to learn from each experience we have to extract some information and pivot, and perhaps it's giving you some important information for you to apply and readjust, and that would be beneficial for you. So I think we have to really like rethink how we are looking at our own experiences and how we applying them towards achieving the goal that we want. And I'm so thankful that we had that conversation today. And for those who would like to connect with you online, how can they find you?
Yeah, anybody that doesn't want to waste time mowing your yard, just go to greenpal.com, sign up for free quotes there. Anybody want to hit me up, just Google my name, Bryan Clayton, and LinkedIn. Find me there, drop me a DM on LinkedIn.
Yes. And as we close today, what would be the thought for our listeners?
You know, like I mentioned earlier, I have become a totally different person running a small business. It has caused me to evolve and grow and mature in ways that I never would have been able to do otherwise. So I think if you can look at not what you're going to get from starting a business in terms of like how much money you're going to make, but look at like the person I'm going to become, it can help give you a deeper sense of motivation to start that journey, to say, okay, I'm gonna become this person who's going to be successful as part of this journey of building this business. For me, it's been one of the most rewarding things that I ever could have done. It's been a lot of ups and downs. It's been very challenging, but that's how you grow. That's how you learn. And so I recommend you do it. But be willing to dedicate a decade of your life to an idea, and be willing to dedicate everything you have to bringing it to life, and it'll be one of the best things you do with your life, I promise.
Yes. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for having me on.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Stay tuned.